What's up, everybody? This is the End Boss showing you my Ice Shards build, getting you a little showcase of how it goes through. I know a lot of you have seen it in action and have been asking some questions about it, so I wanted to get into it quickly, give you a little bit of a breakdown. The skill tree is going to be the base for any, of course, build here. Starting with your Frostbolt, getting Enhanced Frostbolt to get a little bit of an explosion AoE. Not really our generator or damager, but this is their mainstay of the build. When you're out of everything, you've still got your Frostbolt to slap them around. Going through, of course, maxing out Ice Shards is your main play. Getting the benefit from Enhanced Ice Shards as soon as possible, and then using Destructive Ice Shards to maintain vulnerable effects on your enemies. Now, this is a hardcore build, so it is going to have some focus on survivability. So we are going to be taking Potent Warding in full 3 stacks. World Tier 4 is no joke. You're going to want that extra resistances. It's going to save your life. Additionally, some points in Devastation, as well as Elemental Dominance, because, well, I'll show you later. We're going to be utilizing a lot of Lucky Hit to keep our mana generation high. So you're going to get the full benefit of the Elemental Dominance points. Your 3 other moves that you're going to be utilizing on the bar, as you can see here, are going to be Teleport, Flame Shield, and Frost Nova. Frost Nova is going to be getting all of your remaining points. You're going to want to max it. The lower the cooldown, the stronger it becomes. Of course, you can see here we're going to go with the Shimmering Teleport for the damage reduction, as well as the Shimmering Flame Shield to make sure you heal up, keep yourself alive. I'm not a fan of the Ice Armor. The barrier is just simply an additional barrier, then we're already stacking them up because we are going to be picking up a lot of barrier gen skills. Now, Elemental Attunement is going to be a mainstay of this as well, because you're going to be utilizing a lot of Lucky Hit, and you're going to need to actually control your ability usage in order to generate the right cooldown being hit with this effect. And what I'm talking about is not mashing your buttons when you need to, and only as a sort of dance, playing your cards in your hand as you see fit. Mostly focusing on getting that reset with your Frost Nova. Again, you're going to keep up vulnerability on your opponents, and it keeps them in place. A lot of your damage comes from Frost Nova. Going on through, we want to get Precision Magic to make sure we have that Lucky Hit chance. Again, this is a hardcore focused build, so Mana Shield will be generating a ton of extra damage reduction, coupled with Align the Elements for whenever you're fighting an elite. This works great and synergizes wonderful with the amount of control you have during a fight. Since you're going to be doing a lot of actual dancing around there, you're getting a couple of seconds of this buff up, boom, 10, 20, 30% damage reduction on that next swing. Of course, Protection is going to function really well with those 3 defensives mentioned earlier. You make sure that you keep those barriers up. Coming on down, we are going to put 3 more points into Icy Veil, because the duration of the barriers is going to be a big issue as well. You'll be losing them a lot, mostly on time spent, not even on damage taken. Last but not least, your final skill is going to be Deep Freeze. This is your oh no, I've messed up button. You're going to want to push this to get the full effect of Supreme Deep Freeze. So let's say you face roll into a fight you didn't want to take. You've got no cooldowns left. The full 4 seconds on this will actually save your life, because not only as you get that immunity for 4 seconds, it's going to freeze everything around you. It's going to give you 4 seconds additional cooldown reduction on these abilities, and at the end, you're going to get that extra 50% chunk down. So let's say you've got 10 seconds left on this ability, 4 seconds is taken away, you're down to 6 seconds, then another 3 seconds is shaved off with the effect of this. So you can really get some survivability going here. You shouldn't be dying very much. These points are kind of subjective. I put them in here to get a little bit of extra frost damage going on, but this is really the balancing point for the build. Frigid Breeze is going to allow you to keep up your mana regeneration, because again, we go right back up here. We're going to be needing that MP regeneration for for your Elemental Dominance. It's going to make sure that you can keep that extra damage bonus. Going on through, last but most certainly not least, Avalanche is a big deal. This is the bread and butter of the build. This is going to allow you to sit there between these 2 spells, between these 2 passives rather. You are going to be sitting on almost a full MP pool. Now that is, of course, Lucky Hit, hence the issue is generating more Lucky Hit. That's going to be the biggest focus you can work on. This is just the skeleton of the build to make sure you've got the right pieces. We're going to switch over here, show you some of the main focus of the actual gear building. Now, since we're generating a lot of barriers, you can see here this is imprinted with the 18% damage bonus while you have a barrier. That's going to be focus number 1. Make sure you have barrier generation focused on there, getting some actual utility out of it. On the second part, this will work with your teleport ability. So you can gain your stacking damage and still teleport without losing it. Now, if you dodge with your spacebar or whatever you have it bound to, you will lose that damage buff. But at over about 7 seconds, over about a 7% range on the roll is going to get you the most utility. It's only going to be 3 to 4 seconds to max it out. So that's going to be pretty huge. Going on through, additional lucky hit chance when you have a barrier, because again, barrier generation is going to be up most of the time. It's going to be getting you that lucky hit that you are missing out on. Of course, when you're having the vulnerable effect on enemies, taking 25% less damage from them, that's absolutely titanic. This is something I cannot live without. Going on through, again, dealing increased damage to vulnerable enemies, everything you hit is going to be vulnerable. There will not be a single moment you are striking something that is not vulnerable, so that is going to be very important. Now, picking up this unique is going to be a tough call. You can just pretty much shovel anything in there that you'd like as far as an additional affix for the chest piece, but if you come across this, it'll allow you to engage and destroy everything in a matter of one set of cooldowns. I can teleport in Frost Nova, it will be gone. I don't care what's on my screen, it's gone. Bosses get the additional stun damage on their stagger bar. It is huge for putting them in the uncontrollable state and just DPSing them down. Last but most certainly not least, that imprint right there, the extra armor, that is so much generation that at my current level, I can reach up to 99% mitigation. All right, stacking that armor will save your life. And of course, since we're running ice shards, we're generating about 5 charges per swing. Every single time you shoot, that's at least 5 on the bar to get that up to 100. So you're usually running with at least about 50 plus stacks of it anytime you're going around. This is another aspect that allows us to fully utilize the potential of the build, because we're going to be sitting at above 100 MP most of the time. Again, you've seen how the build works. You know that there's like no limit to the potential when the procs are happening. So you're gaining an effective 48% or above crit chance depending on what your role is. That's why I like to put this on the necklace for the added bonus. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. You've seen me do nothing but crit for minutes at a time. Going on down, Ice Shards Pierce. This is arguably the only thing you absolutely cannot live without. If your Ice Shards aren't piercing, you are forced to a single target build and you are doing nearly 0 AoE damage. So this is really where it comes into shine. You have to get these rolls together. Now, the first part of the roll, getting 3 to 4 pierce, is pretty important, but the second part, losing 5% per pierce, that's even more massive. You need to get the low roll on this. And again, dealing damage to stunned or immobilized enemies or frozen. I love my burst damage. I will jump in there and I will cleave them down in a matter of seconds. Like I said, it's a 2-hit combo. Elites, level 70 plus, 80 plus, doesn't matter. You can wipe the floor with them. Going through, and of course, if you haven't already selected your passives, this is a hardcore build, utilizing the Flame Shield enchantment instead of the standard Firebolt. Most of the players in the game are going to be running Firebolt because they want to utilize the additional burning effects, as well as it mixes up their Paragon board, allows them to look for different rolls on gear. We want to live. A dead men tell no tales and do no damage, so making sure you have Flame Shield enchantment is absolutely painstakingly important, especially because, again, this is a hardcore build. Second part of this, the Ice Shards enchantment. You're going to be absolutely bopping kids with that vulnerable, and you're going to make sure they are getting chunked down by Ice Shards. Most trash mobs will not survive a Frost Nova. You'll just simply throw on the Frost Nova, focus on the elites, and let those Ice Shards do the rest of the work. Going through on the Paragon board, as you can see, I'm only level 69 Giggity, but we've already started with the Paragon tree here. This is a as you see fit tree. You can either rush straight through to get your glyph sockets and then continue through to the next board. I chose to go first with the Frigid Fate board because I wanted to get the extra vulnerable effect. That lucky hit, 15%. Again, lucky hit stacking, very important. Going through, you can also opt in to gain Icefall, which is an additional generation for barriers. Again, most of the build is generating damage through barrier, so if you want to rush straight to Icefall too, that's entirely up to you. Side nodes and rare nodes are as a need basis. If you need extra cold damage, focus those cold damage nodes. If you find yourself still having trouble, get the damage reduction from vulnerable and keep picking as you go. But don't be afraid to branch off and pick up these additional nodes for extra life. Just Pick it as you see fit. Again, this is mostly a hardcore focus build, so you're going to see a lot of survivability in the tree. Now for the glyph slots, pretty much unless you're leveling them up and doing a lot of hardcore endgame content, you can mix and match as you feel fit. This, however, is going to be your bread and butter. You're going to be building around it and leveling it first because you have become a crit machine. You've seen all the rest of the pieces of the build. This is one of the final pieces. Now, obviously, as I continue through the board, we're going to be getting more and more nodes as necessary. If you need more healing, you need more damage, continuing through until level 100. This is just kind of the base starter build for you to get all the way through. I'll be making additional guides for the end game skill set after we get there as well. But this will keep you going. Again, if you're interested, got any questions, please feel free to drop by twitch.tv/theendboss for any additional information. And I will see you guys at the top of the hardcore leaderboards. Take care.